Welcome back in, Cult Lords fans, to the Cult Lord channel. This is Master Chief Dane.
This is Sub Chief under the Rear Admiral, JR.
I don't think he knows Halo terminology very well.
No, I've never played it.
I just got this new Halo helmet.
Look at this puppy.
For Master Chief. What do you think of it, Dane?
It's
Kinda
cool looking, yeah. I just like to slip that on and talk all the entire program with it.
Yeah.
Dane talking to Halo Master JR.
Yeah. Well, we are here to do a movie review this week. And the movie review is Criss Angel Mindcage.
What?
Are you ready for the magic event of a lifetime?
No, it's just Mindcage.
Tricks.
You're right. This is starring Martin Lawrence, John Malkovich, and Melissa Roxburgh. Yeah. Melissa Roxburgh.
Roxburgh?
Roxburgh. Like Pittsburgh. So, Harrisburg. Actually, that doesn't have the H on the end at Harrisburg. But anyways, it's a burg. She's a burg.
Yeah.
So, if you are new to the Cult Lords channel, we would love for you to subscribe. 80% of our viewers come, watch, and don't subscribe. Then 20% of our viewers are subscribers.
What's up with that?
So we'd love to change those stats a little bit. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. That gets us up into, if you get to the double digits, that gets us up into the algorithms. And then tell us in the comments what you thought of Mindcage if you've seen Mindcage. And it is available now for streaming. I don't know where, but I saw it somewhere.
I don't know, but remember, this is spoiler-heavy review.
We're going to get there. But go ahead. Kick us off, Dane.
We're doing the spoilers.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, you got to go pause this and go watch that, because it's non-stop deets.
Oh, yeah. We're about to get into some very heavy details of this movie, Mindcage. So hit pause, go watch the movie, come back, tell us what you thought. All right? Great. Now, Dane,
Yes.
before we start,
Uh-huh.
I always like to give the Rotten Tomatoes scores because we start off with our Cult Lords ratings.
Yes.
To show you up front what we thought of the movie.
Work our way back.
And then work our way backwards. We're not going to string you out all the way to the end to tell you what our rating is. We're going to tell you up front. But first, let's do the Cult Lords ratings. Okay?
Rotten Tomato ratings.
Yes, the Rotten Tomatoes ratings. All right. So, Dane,
The lesser of the ratings.
you have not seen these, right?
No, I have
Okay.
completely not seen these whatsoever.
I would like to ask your prognostication of what the critics gave this movie.
I am going to say 6.5.
65%, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm going in the Cult Lords ratings average scale format.
All right. So 65%.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the audience gave this?
7.1.
71%.
Yes.
So 65 and 71.
Uh-huh.
So Dane,
Yeah.
the critics gave this movie a 20%.
I went, and I was like, I'm going to go low.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the audience, you said what? 71?
Yeah, 71.
They gave it a 63.
Oh, at least more in my vicinity.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what's more important is the Cult Lords ratings.
Yes.
That's where you really get a feel
What did I
of
give over here?
what the zeitgeist
I'm going to have to
feels.
have a second card with me. Like, I can slip it out when you're looking.
No.
You slip it by the JR man
No.
here. So I was like, let me
No.
just slip into this other card here. You know?
No.
Look over there.
So let's see what Dane and JR thought. Okay, on the count of three.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3.
3. My mind's been whipped. 6.8.
I got
Mind freeze.
Mind
4.5.
freeze.
So we're basically audience critic.
Yeah. I gave it a little bit better than the critics. There
Yeah.
was some, things
Redeeming
that were
factors.
redeeming qualities, but
Right.
this was one of the stupidest movies I've watched in a long time. And we'll talk about it. This was
Yeah.
worse than shotgun wedding.
I know. Man, you went low. I'm surprised.
I don't think I've ever gone below 5.
No.
Since we've been doing this.
No.
So.
He's just Mr. We're going to have to put that back on the cage.
Yeah.
One of these days.
All right.
But, yeah, you went low and low.
Low and low. So what was your 6 point what?
I think 6.2. I can't remember. Okay. Somewhere in the 6.8 vicinity. Yeah.
Oh, it's down in front of us right now. So, all right. So Dane, what did you like about this movie?
Well, I thought they did
top-notch acting.
I thought actually they were somewhat inspired to get Martin Lawrence to play that character because it did pay off, later in the movie because you didn't see that coming. That end coming because he was kind of like this investor, and he was like,
getting to the end too fast.
He was like, I'm gonna play a character here, and I'm not gonna go beyond that. But I'm just like, he seemed like he was acting. He was trying to be not.
I saw a man trying to act serious, and
you saw right through it.
But was only 1 week into his acting class. You know what I mean? So I thought, wow, horrible. Now Melissa Roxburgh, horrible acting. John Malkovich, the only redeeming quality. The other guy who played the detective, and he's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I was like, horrible. Robert Knepper, who played Lieutenant.
He's going old school. That guy's been around for a while.
Yeah, he was in, I remember him in Heroes.
He was in some kind of old sci-fi thing.
The writer is Reggie Key O'Hara III. Okay. Man, there was some stupid flaws in this movie. But, all right, let's go back to why you liked this. So you liked the redeeming qualities of Martin Lawrence acting.
I actually thought it was inspired to get him to do this. And I agree. Up front, I was like, this does seem a little weird. Like, he's kind of like, almost like, I'm just getting fresh off the boat. Like, I've never acted before. But then later in the movie, it started making sense a bit because the way the interchange, and he was supposed to be slightly having mental problems and stuff. Plus, I really like the Renaissance painting side of it. I thought that was a cool aspect where you're kind of like, oh, this person's, who's ever this serial killer is really putting the serious work in here to represent.
So there were so many bad cues going on. Like when a director films and he has to work with a script, there's so many things a director has to do to make this movie enjoyable. From pacing to the cuts he makes, his angles, his music choices, and where he puts the music in. And I was tearing this thing apart. From the music. I was like, that's awkward that they would put this music in here like this. The pacing was terrible here. These were stupid camera shots. I was literally just tearing this apart. Stupid casting choices. I thought the doctor with the little man bun on the end,
right.
He was the most soft-spoken actor.
Yes, I'm serious.
Yes, there is something serious going on here. Would you take care of this? Would you look at this? It was like, oh my God.
Ultimately, I think what this movie really suffered from is because you've seen most of this all before.
But you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. There were some twists and turns at the ends that I did not see coming, and we'll get to it. But what I thought was, the guy who directed this is Mauro Borelli. So he's done 11 things. Mindcage, War Hunt, The Recall.
Nothing we've heard about.
The Ghostmaker, Haunted Forest.
Nothing. Not one thing.
Nothing we know. All right? So I thought, at the end, I go, you know what would be interesting? What if you got an or a director like a Christopher Nolan, or like a Brian De Palma or something that took this script and made it their own. So I'm going to make this my own. What would Christopher Nolan do with this story? Mm-hmm. I bet it would have been 10 times better.
Well, that's true.
Right?
Because,
like I said, there's some interesting things that happen at the end. And so let's talk about what this movie's about. So it starts off with, there's been a kill.
It's a copycat serial
killer.
And
it's a copycat serial killer that Melissa Roxburgh, who is Martin Lawrence's brand new partner as detectives, has never seen before. But apparently, Martin Lawrence has gone through this years ago when he worked on capturing the serial killer known as the artist, right?
Which they promptly call him that the entire time.
That's his name, John Malkovich.
Right.
I don't know if they actually say his name.
I was going to say, did they never say his actual name?
No, it's just he's the artist, right? So she. Oh no! Look, Arnaud Lefebvre.
Yeah, that's right. His name was Arnaud Lefebvre.
Okay, Lefebvre. Okay, so Melissa Roxburgh. She's Detective Mary Kelly. She's kind of gung ho on this and wants to solve this. Where Martin's like, oh, she can't get into this, right?
Right.
She's too young. She doesn't have enough experience. And the lieutenant's like, no, let's put her in. Let's see if she's got a fresh perspective. Right. Remember you lost your last partner while trying to bust the artist, so let's try not to let that happen again. So
no repeats.
So murder after murder happens, and like
very ornate murders.
Very ornate, and I like how they walk up as detectives. And in each one, there's no photographer taking pictures at the murder, but they're meanwhile going, look at this piece of a compass on the fingernail. Let's take it. Let's put it in a bag. And they put it in a bag and they leave. They leave the crime scene. Mm-hmm. I'm like, they wouldn't be doing that. I've seen enough crime scene shows that's not how you. We'll just take this piece of evidence away without photographing it or anything like that. And then we'll just take it. They took they did it 2 or 3 times. At crime scenes, each crime scene, they took something different or they moved something.
That's right. The nail polish.
Yeah,
that was down in the autopsy area.
Yeah,
but
we're gonna have to take this. Okay, so it was just I'm like I don't know. Like when I'm watching this, I'm like, what is the screenwriter thinking? That's not realistic. You know what I mean? What? So you have no comment to that?
No, I was just waiting for you to make your point.
It's stupid.
I do remember a photographer, by the way.
No.
At one of them, there was a photographer walking around.
When the photographer comes, I watched it.
Yeah.
The only time the photographer came was when they raid John Malkovich's cell. And then the photographer comes in and is taking pictures of the cell.
Okay. I seem to remember another one, but
nope,
yeah.
There was none.
None the entire time.
No.
Because you remember, she was always like, you're late. Like, we've been sitting here around waiting for you to show up while the people are waiting, but...
Maybe the photographer already came and left.
Well, one thing I will say is that they... I mean, I agree with you. There did seem to be a lot of, wink, wink to, okay, we're just going to bypass any kind of, normal forensics procedures and to get to the... let's just move this story along and, nothing else is going to happen, so we might as well just skip ahead.
Okay, and so let's, as the screenwriter, let's manipulate our audience a little more. Let's have this weird homeless man show up 3 different times in the movie at 3 different spots for basically no reason and no understanding except to tell her to watch out what she's doing. Now, who was this guy?
Oh, he was possessed by the artist.
He was possessed by the artist?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why but to your point, it was kind of like,
he always knew where she was.
Well, that was because, he was a former guard in the prison.
Okay.
And he went insane and left.
Yeah.
And so the artist occasionally, so we should explain that. The artist has the weird ability now after getting
possess somebody's body
by drawing their face.
Right.
He can possess you in a picture. He can then go into some kind of epileptic seizure.
And you don't know this until the very end.
Yeah.
Cause and we'll talk about when the moment is that you learn this is because he possesses Martin Lawrence and Martin Lawrence is acting different. But so you wonder what's up with this guy? Then they kind of manipulate you, making you think it could be your boyfriend. Who's the ex-father, right?
That guy was an ex-priest, yeah. Yes. And then that was like, God, is that guy creepy?
Yeah.
And then she's always wakes up what are you doing? And he's got the rosary. He's like, I'm praying for you in the dark.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Most women would not put up with that.
But I thought about because John Malkovich says to her when he's doing his
his claymation drawing?
No, his little Silence of the Lamb moments with Clarice as he's talking to her. He says, "Have you ever wondered why he wants to share your bed or whatever like that?" So it made me kind of think like later, like did he have a drawing of him, and it was him laying next to her in bed. You know what I mean?
I mean, they didn't unfortunately actually answer that question, but it would make sense. Because it did seem like he knew a shitload of things about her personal life that she's like, I've never told anybody what one person.
And it was her boyfriend.
Well, no, her boyfriend was. I thought there was one other person.
Okay.
Which was strange because they never identified who the other person was. Yeah. So, like, who did she tell?
Yeah.
So, it was. There was definitely a lot of inconsistencies in this movie. I mean, it just.
Yeah.
It was.
And another thing too, when he handed her the bust that he made of her out of clay, and he says, "And always remember, the secret is inside you." I said, "All right, count down to when she finds out something's in that bust."
Right.
There's about 20 more minutes. You know, she left the prison with the bust. She's in the car. They're down the thing, and then all of a sudden she's like, "He said, the secret is always deep inside you. I wonder if that means inside this clay bust." She starts ripping it apart. Like, I would have ripped it apart right there on the site. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you mean okay.
Well,
I see what you get.
Yeah. I mean, then to your point, this is the benefit of seeing so many of these movies and knowing what should be happening versus the characters in the movie have not experienced prior movies before.
Right.
You know, it's the old horror movies. Like, how the hell do you not know to run out of a room when there's a creature, or something in there? We all know this, but you have to expect the actors not to think it through. But to your point, if she's supposed to be smart and clever and a master of her class, she should have just taken that bust, thrown it on the floor, and said, "What the F is this?"
Right.
I mean,
here's the address right here. Okay. Right. And then...
Never mind the fact, why didn't you just give it to her?
And then they go to that house, and they are on the first floor. They go into one room, they go into another room, and then Martin Lawrence comes up, and they're in that mid-forum area where, what was it on the wall that they were saying? And then he goes, "Oh, I'm going to have to go call it in." You know what I mean?
Well,
remember they're in that final house?
It was like an apartment building complex?
No, it was a mansion-like house. It was the address that was on that thing. They go to the house, and they clear 2 rooms, and then they see something up on the wall.
Was it Shamel or something? Or...
Yeah, and I can't remember what it was, but Martin Lawrence goes, "I'll go call this in."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, you have not cleared the house yet.
Oh, yeah, with that last 2 thing. Yeah, right, yeah. And then she stays in there.
She stays in there, and then she hears the whimpering, behind some blankets or whatever.
Or go in the basement.
Yeah, and she finds out the governor's down there.
The lieutenant governor.
Yeah. And
previously got kidnapped by...
Yeah.
The homeless guy.
Yeah. So, but I'm like, dude, you have not cleared this house yet.
Yeah. A
good detective is going to clear the whole house
before
you go call him in.
Because he was possessed.
Well, that is true. That's a good point, Dane.
Yeah,
that's a good point. John Malkovich was probably there with her and said, "I will go call this in."
Because there was a bunch of scenes where he was in his epileptic thing holding a paper, but they didn't show you who it was. So, because you still at that point did not know he was the one.
You did not know this yet. So what happened?
But to your point, she should have said, "Where are you going?"
Yeah.
Why am I going down? I mean,
Well, no, he was going to go call it in.
Right.
So he leaves the building, and then she hears this kind of whimpering of a woman. Mm-hmm. Then she goes downstairs, finds the lieutenant governor. Then she sees somebody running
down there, running around.
So she shoots blindly, which I
misses them the first time.
3 times. I think she took 3 shots.
Maybe that's what it is.
And missed them.
And then,
so finally, she walks up to the silhouette behind the thing, and then when the person pulls it up, it's Martin Lawrence acting different.
Well, yes and no. I promised to help you find the killer, Mary. And here he is.
What?
It's me, then so like
It's
now
me, suckers!
I know. Now you're wondering, oh my gosh, was Martin Lawrence the killer all along? This would make sense because he's popping pills, he's reading books on possession, you know. You think he's like studying like people. Maybe he's like somehow you know, copying the thing.
Or
you know,
he's having a psychotic episode
yes.
or something.
Maybe he's got multiple personalities.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on, but you're thinking, okay. But then, as he's talking to Detective Mary, his voice kind of changes, and suddenly it sounds like John Malkovich talking.
That was jarring.
Yeah.
You were like, what?
What? And then that's where that's where they reveal John Malkovich laying in his bed, talking to the detective through Martin Lawrence and saying, you see, when I hit my head as a kid, I got this power.
Yes.
Where I could do this, right?
Shamel, or whatever that dark angel was.
Yeah.
Samael or whatever. And I can possess people when I get into my epilepsy, as long as I can draw them.
As I can draw them.
Yeah. Which is funny, because he never drew her.
Well, but then he says at the end, you and I are going to, you know, have some more time together. Something like that. Because what you have to realize is he was only a few days away from death row. Or he was on death row, but he was going to be sentenced to die like in a few days. So in order for him to cooperate with the detectives, he gets his sentence commuted to life in prison.
Yeah.
So now...
Which he loves.
He loves because even though he's in prison, he can go act out whatever he wants outside the prison by possessing them, right? Mm-hmm. By simply drawing them. So...
Yeah.
Sounds like an evil super villain power.
I know.
So
it reminds you of something, and I can't think of what it is, but I can draw you and possess you with it.
Yeah.
But so he does the final drawing and whatever, and possesses Martin Lawrence, and then convinces her basically to shoot Martin Lawrence.
Yeah.
And so then if he finally got revenge on Martin Lawrence without any. He got away scot-free.
I've honored the contract. Lieutenant Governor lives.
Because she did it.
Yeah. And then everybody thinks she's a hero. Because, you know, she says that it was Martin Lawrence, and then everybody just believes her. Like the lieutenant's congratulating her. Mm-hmm. There's no real evidence that he did that. Well, I guess he probably had to have done
I thought there might have been a hint early on, because it was glossed over where they said, like, why is Martin the character, why was his DNA showing up in something? Oh, they kind of hinted at it somewhere earlier, but not enough to make you believe, oh, he's the one who's been doing these things. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely was, all right, well, you know, the artist got his revenge, Lawrence is killed, and then what does she do? She goes to the funeral. She goes to the funeral with her priest boyfriend.
Her priest boyfriend.
And then the warden is there, and the warden, you find out, is
the doctor. The doctor guy.
The prison hospital.
He's possessed, and he's talking to her through him, saying like, you know, hey, you know what, I'm going to come for you next, or something like that. And then
thank you for not getting me killed.
But then you know what she did? She killed the artist with a pencil.
I once saw him kill 3 men in a bar with a pencil. With a fucking pencil.
Yep.
Just like John Wick in The Joker. With a pencil!
The pencil?
Yeah, you see what she had done was she had brought some supplies in the day before.
The black wax pencil that he likes to use for stuff. And
she had noticed
laced him.
He likes to chew on his pencils, so she laced him with a poison, like a ricin.
The same poison that he uses for all his victims.
Yeah, ricin, right?
Yeah.
And
made from castor beans.
So he's like, no. So he like gets up and he's like looking at the pencil. Then suddenly, all of a sudden, he's feeling the effects right at that moment.
Yes, of course.
Of the thing, and then he dies.
Yeah, exactly.
And she... She
off
killed
into the
him.
sunset.
Walking off into the sunset to make sure that there's going to be no Mindcage 2.
Yes.
But I think
Thankfully.
the script already clarified for us that there would be no Mindcage 2. But you never know. There might be a
Well,
Mindcage
I mean,
2.
he just like was like,
Yeah.
and then just kind of collapsed. But
Right.
you're not 100% sure he's dead.
Well, they're not going to bring back John Malkovich, but somebody else might have this power too, or something. I don't know.
Hopefully not.
So you still like your score on this?
No, well, I was okay with it. I thought it was, it was interesting.
Like I said-
I wasn't sitting there. I mean, you definitely were like every single thing that was like, what? That's not right. This police procedure is not being followed. And
I was being very.
my biggest thing is, you remember Denzel Washington's movie Fallen? It's about the black angel named Azrael that. It's almost, and it's like somebody saw that movie and said, I'm going to write another aspect.
I can tell you who that someone is. Reggie O'Hara III.
Well, I can tell you exactly. He basically looked at Fallen, which is, some would consider a cult, it's a cult movie right now. And he kind of picked off, I mean, it's almost eerie how close he is with stuff. Because there's possession by another demon named Azrael or Azazel. Azazel, and in the end, there's a trick that happens where the main character ends up killing the demon by tricking it in some form or another. I don't want to give too much away, but it's just kind of like, this sure sounds very similar to this movie. I mean, the thing that this movie had going for it was you had basically Malkovich and like the whole Renaissance painting stuff.
Right.
I mean, that was it. I mean,
Yeah.
Martin Lawrence hasn't been in anything for how long, and
Well,
he
you
was
know
brought
what?
in.
As I was driving to the Cult Lord studio,
Yes,
here deep
our
down,
lair.
deep down in the jungles of South America,
Yeah.
I got a call from my oldest daughter, Mercedes, and she was like, "Hey, Dad, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just on my way to film, several episodes of stuff." And she goes, "Oh, what are you reviewing this week?" And I said, "Mindcage." She goes, "Oh my gosh, my husband and I, we watched that last week and we really liked it." And I go, "You really liked it, huh?" And I was like, "Tell me why you liked it." And she goes, "Well, you know what?" She goes, "I like detective movies where they try to piece things together. And I like John Malkovich. I've really always liked him. I've never seen him with so much hair, though, before. But I really like him." And she goes, "I thought he did a great job acting." And she goes, "And I totally didn't see the end coming." And so from that description right there, I could see why she liked it.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in that same ballpark there.
Yeah.
If my score wasn't as low as your score was.
I picked this movie apart. And maybe it was just one of those days where I was like, I'm not going to suspend belief to get into this movie.
2 weeks in a row. Shotgun Wedding, and this one is total nitpicking.
Right. Well, we'll see.
But the critics are obviously proving your point. I mean, because, and again, it's not like a movie that, if you're coming into it fresh eyes, like your daughter is, it was entertaining. I mean, you didn't see it was coming. She probably didn't know who Martin Lawrence was, to tell you the truth.
Well, I think she's seen Bad Boys, like with Will Smith. And
but not the history that we know. Everything he was doing in the 80s and 90s.
She's 31, 32.
Right.
32. So, she doesn't have what we have, like memories of the 70s and 80s and even the 90s. Mm-hmm. She was born in the 90s, so. Right.
Right. So, I mean, Malkovich carries a lot of weight in movies.
Yeah.
I mean, there was obviously a heavy reliance on Silence of the Lambs in this.
Oh, so yeah.
It was just so
There's like, let's take a piece of
obvious.
Silence of the Lambs. Let's take a piece of whatever Fallen there. Yeah. Let's
put it together.
I
mean, the only thing I will say that they held back on is John Malkovich was not as creepy as Hannibal Lecter was with this girl. I mean, he wasn't like, fava beans or Clarice, or let me touch you for a second.
Well, because if he went overboard, it would be too much of a ripoff, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Of Silence of the Lambs. So he probably, says, I've seen Silence of the Lambs, but I've got to make this character mine and different. So that's why he went in the direction he went. Right. Well, I want to know what the Cult Lords viewers thought who have seen this.
Yeah.
If you have seen this movie, Make sure to tell us in the comments what you thought. Right after you subscribe, you hit the like button, then tell us what you thought. Did you like this movie? Did you think it was, maybe thought it was kind of refreshing with a twist ending that, I mean, frankly, I did not know Supernatural was going to be in this. I didn't know there was going to be a supernatural element.
They held off on
They
that
held
for
off
sure.
on that last card until the very end.
Right. I mean, you saw like a setup where he kind of was in there, like explained it away as he had an episode where he got hit on the wheelchair. But yeah, you did not see that he suddenly was basically possessed. Maybe is not the right word, but impositioned by a demon to go out and go after people.
You know what? And maybe because they held back on that. Some of the criticisms I had, like, what the hell's up with this homeless guy always tracking her down? And, you know, now you can look back and say, oh, because he possessed her and this guy was doing his bidding. Right?
But then, to your point,
it's
like, how has he skillfully manipulated Martin Lawrence to do all these, like, very ornate drawings? But then somehow the homeless guy seems to be a complete klutz.
Right.
Like,
I don't know.
He could just walk into a place and kill anybody as the homeless guy. Somehow that's not in his purveyance.
Dude, he could, like, literally draw the President of the United States. Or he can say, you know what, I'm going to turn myself into The Rock. And I'm going to kill Jason Statham in real life.
I mean, you know, he basically has carte blanche.
He has carte blanche. As long as he can draw them.
They didn't set the precedence. Like, I guess he doesn't have a TV.
Right.
So he wouldn't be able to. But, I mean, literally...
He could literally draw himself as the governor of whatever state is and then pardon himself.
True.
And he could get out of jail.
Right.
What? Yeah, I just thought about that. he could do that.
I mean, the only thing that was holding him back was the governor had... kept him away from all his art supplies.
Yeah.
And that was one of the early, I want this in order to help you demands.
Yeah.
But oh well.
I don't know.
It could have been so much better.
All right, just tell us what you think, Cope Lords fans.
Yeah.
And Dane.
Did you say subscribe, like, and comment?
I already did. Yeah. So, Dane, how do you want to draw your way out?
I'm going to draw my way out of this. How do you like this picture?
Oh, I like that picture. I like that. I want to kill you now. You didn't know I can act.